Hi, I'm Edgar Hernandez.
And I'm Nuri Robles. And this is
Bar Talking
Bar, your access to the heartbeat of New York City's bar and hospitality scene.
Hosted straight from the city that never sleeps, we sit down with bartenders, brands and ambassadors, hospitality pros, and cocktail lovers.
Whether it's the art of bartending, the hustle behind hospitality, or the wildest bar tales, expect raw conversations and industry secrets.
Listen to the people who pour your favorite cocktails and keep the nightlife alive.
If you love bars, spirits, and the stories that bring them to life, follow us, share, and subscribe to keep the conversations flowing.
The podcast that you didn't know you need.
New episodes weekly.
Welcome back to another week of your favorite podcast,
Bar Talking Bar.
I'm Edgar Hernandez.
And I'm Nuri Robles.
Thank you for tuning in or listening to us, on your favorite platforms. We want to start by acknowledging and recognizing every single person who works in the service industry, the bartenders, because this is the reason why we do it, but also everyone in between. Barbacks, without their help, nothing gets done basically.
Kitchen. Please.
Thank you, chefs, sous chefs, delivery guys, like we mentioned. It's very important that we get our stuff in the house. But without further ado, we want to introduce you to our VIP guests. You guys are in the VIP lounge.
Yeah.
You can see.
So finally, we got in the house Sam
Willy.
Yeah.
Will you be my guest?
Yeah, that's funny because your Instagram handle is that. And I remember also I reached out to saying like, will you be my guest? And he is right here. Today we have Oliver in the screen.
I don't know, Oliver is walking around. Don't press me anything.
Anyway, but thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, we are very excited because many people knows you, but also some people don't. So we always ask our guests to introduce yourself to the audience right there.
Well, first and foremost, thank you for having me. Thank you guys for watching. My name is Sam. I'm the Agave Advocacy Manager for Bacardí. I'm very excited to be with you guys.
Yeah, we're also very excited because we want to know, some people can see you in your Instagram showing Patron, and like we said, it's not just Patron. So you were joined by Illegal, and also you work with Cazadores.
That's right.
So it's good that you have mezcal and tequila and Bacardí. Tell us about, obviously we know that you worked right now there, but we believe that it's been a long process to get there. So we're going to go back a little bit. Mm-hmm. Where are you from?
I'm originally from Switzerland. I was born and raised in Switzerland. I grew up in the industry. That's all I know. That's all I ever done. And I did it in a few different countries. And at some point a few years ago, the team reached out and was like, would you be interested in drinking tequila for a living and going to Mexico? And I was like, I'm down.
Yeah. So when did you move to the States?
I moved here 12 years ago now.
12 years?
Yeah.
And you started working with Bacardí, or you were doing something else?
No, when I first came here, I was running a restaurant in Williamsburg. Mm-hmm. And then I helped open a 2 Michelin star restaurant, which was a great experience, and run a few different bars. And 5 years ago now, I joined the team. Okay,
so for a person that has been working in restaurants and running beverage program, how is your approach to this company, like a big company as well?
I think that the challenge was not so much the size of the company, but more so the fact that, for a very long time, I was running bars and restaurants, and the goal was to take care of the guests always. And I always felt like I didn't have necessarily the time to take care of the team or the budget to take care of the team properly. And all of a sudden I was given a platform to be able to just take care of the industry. And that's something that I've been really enjoying.
So back in Switzerland, when you say you were born doing this, what were you doing?
I started in the kitchen on vacations when I was around 8 years old or something like that. And then when I turned, I don't know, maybe 13, 14, whenever I was able to carry a tray, they put me on the floor.
As a server or as a busboy?
Yes, both.
Or everything?
Both. But it's the system is a bit different back home. So overall, the salary is much higher, but because of that, you have half of the team. So like it's like you're your own busboy, you're your own runners and whatnot. But the great thing is it teaches you to do a lot of things.
Yeah.
And also, it really forces you to open your mind at it. And so for that reason, I mean, I've done that my entire life, and it's been an amazing opportunity. And I met so many great people, and I was able to travel around the world doing it. And so in that sense, it's been a fantastic experience.
And did you start being a bartender in Switzerland, or when you moved to the States?
And so I started bartending in Switzerland, and then I moved to South Africa, and I moved to England as well.
Oh,
and in England, I really, really wanted to work at the American bar. And I didn't really understand what that meant, but I got a job at the Savoy, and I was like, I want to work at the American bar, which was great. It's a good place. It's a good place, and met a lot of great people. But I was like, I want to work at the American bars. That was my goal. I was like, I'm a bartender. And when I arrived there, well, for sure, I was not a bartender. And so I worked at the Savoy for 3 years. I never was a bartender at the Savoy, but I was like so inspired by so many people. Like it was the time when like Lorenzo was still at the Savoy, when like Caitlin was still at the Savoy, Eric Lawrence, like Chris Moore, you name them. And so it was like being surrounded by so much talent. Was very inspirational in many ways. And so when I moved to America, we were opening that restaurant, and the owner shows up at like, when seats close at 2 a.m., whatever, and all the bartenders were gone. I was like, I want a Manhattan. I was the only one in the team that knew how to make a Manhattan. And that's how I got the gig.
No.
But I guess working at Savoy and, with that, big names also, and you want to be part of it, I think you also pay attention to like details, like you said, like why they're putting like maybe this rum, or like why they using this. Right?
Yeah, I remember like we had a lot of different programs, and like I would try to sign up for every single one possible, from like learning how to make cocktails and like what I remember we had that trip and thinking about it now is wild, but like, I guess brand trip to an extent is a bit more part of my life now, but like at the time I didn't really understand. And so, I lived in London, I work at the Savoy, and they sent us to Milan for 3 days to learn how to make a coffee.
Wow.
You know what? I need to go get a job at the Savoy too.
Just to go to Milan.
But like that was what, 15 years ago, and I didn't understand how come we were to go to Milan. And so it was great, we learned to make some coffee for a day, and then we shopped for like 2 days, and it was a good time.
Well, I hope my coffee passed this morning.
That's one of the best coffee I had in New York.
So it's very interesting because like we are here on the other side, we see, for example, we know that many people look at New York as the mecca of cocktail, but we also see other countries like Switzerland, like super like fine dining, or like very proper bartenders. Like I never imagined like a dive bar in England, right? Like here you find everywhere like dive bars, but how is like the vibe in London or England?
Like I don't know. Pubs, right?
And it's interesting. I think that what really changed the dynamic and started separating the different scenes is really the prohibition. And that's a deep belief that I have, and people might agree or disagree, but because obviously it also evolved a lot over the past few years. But I feel like for the longest time in London, if you wanted a great cocktail, you would go to a hotel, because that's where you have some of the greatest bartenders, that's where you have some of the greatest service. Where in America, because you had the prohibition, where you started having the best cocktail was the speakeasies, right? And so that's in terms of cocktail. Obviously, you have an entire world outside of cocktails. You have the pubs where you just want to have a pint or whatever and whatnot, right? But in a very funny way, I feel like in between both countries, especially over the past like 2 decades, maybe, there have been that moment where hotels in New York have really strived to improve their cocktail game. And in London, where you seeing more independent cocktail bars and or like dive bars in London as well, but really inspiring each other from each other cocktail scene and bar scene. And so it's really interesting to see the difference. But I think, and it's not a judgment, or maybe it is, but I think milliliters is more precise than ounces.
You know what?
It is actually.
Now that you say that, I like to do my measuring, especially when I do a big batch with milliliters. It's so much easier, so much faster.
Yeah.
People tend to do in ounces, and I'm like, the ounces, they're not very exact unless you have a measuring cup that says like.
And also the ounces to quart to gallons. I'm like, okay, but
and I learned with ounces too. But I find that this is, faster, because if you, I'm going to put a very, very simple example. Margarita, which is 2 parts spirit, 1 part orange liqueur, and 0.75 lime juice. You can do that same amount of milliliters. So you do 2,000 mils, you do 1,000 mils, and 750 mils. That's it. And you have the amount of cocktails.
It's funny, like when if you do a classes for people that are not necessarily bartender or anything like that, I always explain that. I'm like, it's really all about ratios, that you're using milliliters, that you're using coffee cups, that you're using pans, right? It's the same ratio. So like what you're saying about the margarita, right? If it's 2 parts, right? Well, if you're making a big batch for whatever cocktail party and you're using like an actual pan, well, it's just 2 pans, and it's very easy like that. It doesn't have to be more complicated.
Exactly.
And I think nowadays, because like the bar scene everywhere in the world is open to everyone in the world. So people who, like, for example, in Mexico, we don't work with ounces. We also work with milliliters. But nowadays we have people from all around the world, and it's kind of like people who were like doubting of working on milliliters. They're like, because nobody likes math, but I feel like it's getting more into like, now we can work with this, right?
I'm saying it's getting more and more comprehensive because people, they've been traveling more. The cocktail scene opened a lot more, but also like, I feel like guest shift have become more and more frequent, right? And so there is that exchange of knowledge and collaboration that really like what people see somewhere like, I don't know, if you go and do a pop-up at Handshake, by example, right? If you're talking about Mexico, then you might bring it back to your own bar because you saw that cool trick that they were doing or that cool thing that they were doing. And I think that's the beauty of our industry is like, our industry has always been a community. For a very long time, it was traditionally a local community, and it's still very local. But because of the opportunity to travel, it's become much more of a global community as well. And I think that's amazing to see.
Yeah. So I have this question also going back. So going back to your country. So you were born there, and so how's your family? Do you have siblings?
I have one brother, yeah. They're great. I think, you always have like a free-spirited person in the family.
Yeah. Or the black sheep.
I'm the one.
Yep. And to be fair, they usually tend to find a home in hospitality and a community in hospitality. And I think that to that point, like, I found that niche that was mine, and a lot of people that grow up in Switzerland, they don't live it.
Okay.
The quality of life is amazing. The education is fantastic. The healthcare system is great. But regardless of all of that, I needed more and I needed to see more. And so in my family, I'm the one that traveled.
Okay.
Right. My brother, he married my best friend, and they have a beautiful kid together. And so I'm just a cool uncle that lives in New York, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Because also we always also mention that in the past, I think like working in the industry was kind of like, okay, you're working here, but what is your degree, right? And eventually, like we've been proving that hospitality is a profession, and at the end, it depends who wants to work there, and it's not about money sometimes. It's about your passion, right?
It's about also a fulfillment of, like you do something for somebody. Like I always say this, when you have a deal of the day, what's the deal of the day? Like you help somebody cross the road, or you like driving and you hot stop, so you allow the kids to cross, like these little things. And then in hospitality, it's basically the same thing. You do something for somebody, of course you're like, I don't know, like offering a drink, you're offering food, but at the end of the day, you have to feel that person comfortable.
And I think, like, I might say something that might be a bit polarizing, but I don't think hospitality is about food or drinks. And to your point, like that might be helping someone cross the road, right? Like when I walked in, you guys were the most hospitable. And so I think it really is the business of people. And like we have very, very expensive hospitality school in Switzerland. And a lot of rich families from all around the world send their kids over there to
it's
study.
Called
we have a few, but
one with an L, I remember. That one I'm really...
Lausanne, maybe EHL, but I'm saying that because they understand, and also they can afford, but mainly they understand that hospitality is much more about how you deal with people. And usually none of those kids that go to those schools to study end up in bars or restaurants or hotels. They really traditionally end up doing something completely different, but they have that hospitality mindset to everything that they do. And I think that makes a massive difference.
Yeah, that's what I think. Like I think all of us doesn't matter what background you are or where you're coming from. I think if you work a hospitality job at one point of your life, it's not because they want you to do that as your career, but just to know how to connect with other people, social skills in a way, because you interact with different personalities, and that helps you also like digest and be better every single day, as a person. But also you're doing something for somebody else,
And
somebody else,
on a very selfish way, but there is something extremely fulfilling, I think, about being able to make people have a better day, or like give a great experience to someone, or help people grow. And I think that in that sense, like there is something so rewarding for me, at least, to do something for someone else. And I think that makes a massive difference. And like, it's very much so about everyone else, but it really makes you feel full.
Yeah, I think going back to what you said with, like guest bartending nowadays, and then cross sharing information, that's part of it, right? Because we're not seeing it. They might have a pop-up here in New York, and a bar from London and a bar from Mexico, came together, and they've never been to Mexico. But the time they go to Mexico, they have a friend, and they just met once. They don't even know how they are, what the family, the background, where they live, what do you like to eat, or nothing, right? That one moment kind of like connected you. You go back there, and then you'll be open and welcoming. And then if you go to London, it'll be the same thing. So I feel like this is what builds the community in bartending. And not only bartending, because I've seen chefs also doing pop-ups here and there.
I also think that I like to think that gap is closing also in between the front of the house and the back of the house, like in a very old-fashioned, traditional way. I mean, like I worked in a restaurant 20 years ago in Europe, and I've definitely seen some pan flying, but
I've seen too.
but I think, and like you learn to
and sometimes that flies in your head.
you learn to be very fast. But more than anything is I also think the gap in between the front of the house and the back of the house is closing, and you start seeing more and more exchange in between the front and the back. And I personally love seeing that, when you walk into a bar or a restaurant, fairly quickly, whether it's completely disconnected or if they actually work together. And you can see that from, I don't know, anything from a cocktail that's pairing with a food dish, from some ingredients that are being used both for a dessert and for a cocktail, or things like that. Like you can always tell when there is that osmosis in some way in a venue.
And I feel like part of the change has been with like people that really are hospitable, and they bring that idea not just with the coworkers but also to owners. And for example, in New York, we've seen that big change. Like 20 years ago, you wouldn't be paying for training, or like they will pay you whatever they want.
Yeah.
And nowadays we have laws that protect us. And it's been because we care about not just the job or the money, but it's like, this is my profession, why I've been trained like that, right? And nowadays we have insurance, more benefits, and I think like owners that sometimes they don't have experience with hospitality, they feel like, why am I gonna pay for this, right? But the more protected and the more we share these ideas, maybe they can get more knowledge on like, if you're taking care of your staff, that shows also that is hospitality, not just to giving a plate or
no, it does. And for me, you see so many great bars and you see so many great restaurants, but like you can tell when the team feel comfortable and you can tell when the team feels supported, right? And I understand how hard it can be to open a bar or a restaurant in a place, especially like New York. It's extremely expensive and whatnot. But realistically, if that's what you want to do, then you want to make sure that you can do it, right? Don't try to take shortcut with the team, because the more you take care of your team, the more they will take care of the guests, and the happier everyone will be. And also, most likely, your venue, your bar, your restaurant will make more money because guests will come back and the team won't leave.
Yeah.
And so I really think that if you take care of your team from the scratch and like offer them those benefits, right? If you're on the floor but you're worried about what happens if you get sick, right? Or if you're worried about like not being able to take a day off because your kid has something or whatever, it really is different that if you know that your team has your back.
Yeah, exactly. And like you say, I think when the team feels comfortable and it's better to, they'll make a good profit for the house, but it's going to be for them.
Yeah.
And eventually, like, everyone wins, right? At the end of the day, rather than you corner somebody else or not helping, or I feel like it's a little bit hard to say these things because, now a lot of people say it, but it's out there, and I think it's in there, and when, we just have to help one person at a time, and that one person, if somebody is listening, there's so many really resources that the city is now giving out. But I also think about a small restaurants, because if the small restaurant has only 5 staff and the staff, they have the manager, or there's not even a manager.
Yeah.
The manager is the bartender and the captain and the server, like the same thing.
Yeah.
And they only have one busser or runner, or sometimes they don't even have one. And then they have one cook, So basically, you're running with that. And how do they manage? Like, if somebody gets sick, how do they get paid? How do you cover that person's day? Sometimes the owner has to step in, but the owner doesn't know anything about hospitality. He doesn't know how to make cocktails or food.
And you have a lot of that. You have a lot of bars and restaurants that open because someone thinks it's cool that they can host their friend to their own bar or their own restaurant, and they don't understand what it really takes to operate a great bar or a great restaurant. And I'm not talking fancy. I'm just talking great, because like some of my favorite places are some of the most casual places. But it's where like you have people that are happy to be there, right? It's where they're consistent. I'm very happy having some of the greatest cocktail, and I've had some of the greatest cocktail in the world, but quite frankly, I will usually order a beer and a shot, and I'm very happy with that. And I think that you can tell when the person that opens the bar and that's behind the bar does it because they want to create opportunities, or if they do it just because they want to impress their friends. Because usually the ones that just want to impress their friends, well, you won't get your health insurance. You won't get necessarily that backup. And especially in a city like New York, like it doesn't last that long either.
No, the lifespan is very short. I think I read the last time I read an article about how many restaurants open and how many restaurants close. Like you open one and then 100 close, or vice versa. But it's the rent is too expensive already. Also landlords, they give you like a at least for a certain amount of years. So if you have a successful restaurant for at least 1 to 3 years, and then you're waiting on the lease because you have to renew. Sometimes those leases renew double the price, and you can't afford rent like back then. Like if you're paying, for example, $50,000 a month, and then you have to pay $50,000. That's $100,000 a month. So you're making up, or you basically in deficit. It makes more sense to close, right?
And to be fair, like I think anyone that opens a restaurant in the hope to actually make money is wrong.
Yeah.
Like open a restaurant to take care of people and it will make money, but if you open it just for the sake of making money, it most likely won't work out.
Yeah, because then you forget about little details, right? Like one of my things that I go at places is like if I get into the bathroom and it's not clean, that's the main thing for me. But I feel like you coming from Switzerland and just working in England, how was your like perspective coming to the States and then?
It was very confusing at first. I think, when I first came here, I didn't understand everything. And I'm not talking about the language. The language was overall fine, but it was more so about understanding where people were coming from, right? Because the culture I grew up with in Switzerland was different than the one in England and different than the one here. And so in every single places, people come with different experiences. And I think that it took me some time to really understood what I wanted to do in the industry, where I stood in the industry, but also where people were coming from. And again, like coming from, I think, a different hospitality background, it also took me a minute to realize, like, that's okay. And even so, that's been shown to me forever, that's not okay, right? And so I think that's part of growing, and that's part of learning is also tolerating and accepting that you're not right all the time, that you will do mistake. And the best part when you're not right or when you do a mistake is really to own it. Because everyone will make mistakes and everyone will do things right and wrong at times. And like at the end of the day is be comfortable with that. But also if you do something that you shouldn't be doing, then acknowledge it, own it, and evolve from it. And so I think that when I first came here, really understanding where people were coming from and whatnot was the most important, because once and we were saying that, right, we're in the business of people. Once you really understand how things work, right, then you can try to embrace it, and then you can either like make it better if you want to make it better, or you can just like whatever, manage it if you want to manage it. But like you need to understand where you're coming from, and when you start a new job, you start in a new bar or in a new restaurant. But there is so many rules that are thrown at you, and you're like, oh, but maybe sometimes you're like, oh, but that's stupid, or how does that even make sense, right?
Yeah.
Well, when you start in a new country, same thing. Same thing, just greater scale. Yeah. But also the more you do it, the easier it gets, and the more comfortable you become with being uncomfortable.
So going to that point, you were like you said, you were managing, being a beverage director. How did you choose to should I stay here or should I move to a brand? How was that transition?
I think the pandemic made a difference for me, and I'm saying that because I used to run a rooftop during the pandemic, and I spent quite a few years over there. But during the pandemic, people were starting to be, guests were starting to be a bit maybe irrational with their expectation. And I spent most of today dedicating myself to the guests, right? And really like, and you guys know it, but like you miss the birthdays, you miss the weddings, you like, you go in when you're sick, even so you shouldn't, right?
Yeah.
And things like that. And during the pandemic, we were still extremely busy because of the pandemic. We were extremely short in staff just because we couldn't have more staff on. And guests started becoming extremely rude. Guests started sometimes even trying to be physical. I don't remember, like you saw in the newspaper or on Instagram or whatever at the time. Some guests were like violent with some restaurant staff and whatever. And
Super entitled.
and like for me, it was always conflicting because I understand that is your one time going out because you're scared of the world out there. And so you want it to be the most amazing experience, right? And I understand that. And I want to deliver that to the best of our ability. But keep in mind that my team come here every day, putting their health at risk and life at risk. And they do that every day for you to have the best experience that we can offer. And if you're disrespectful to my team, and if you're like that just couldn't cut it. And so that kind of made me really rethink it twice. And at the time when the team approached me and they were like, listen, we're looking for someone. We're not happy with the people that applied and with the people we interviewed. Would you be interested? I was like, yeah.
Will you be my guest?
No, and it's been incredible. But I think there was both aspects. Is like I was not believing in what I was doing for the guest anymore. Not as much, not at that time. And on top of that, I was given the opportunity to give back to an industry that was giving me so much. And that's the reality, you know, when I started as an ambassador and whatnot, what you focus on is the industry, right? And it can be the host, the bartender, the bar back, the server, whoever in the industry, right? But that's all of a sudden my time went from taking care of the guest to taking care of the trade. And that's what I was being paid for. And I loved it because I was able to give back to the ones that miss the birthdays, miss the weddings and whatnot. And I was able to provide some experiences for them that they might not be able to have otherwise, you know. When you see someone doing their first guest shift, it's amazing. When you see and you know, I've seen some people that never been to New York before, right? And that's the thing in the US. The US are so big geographically that people don't travel the same every time. So when you have someone, it's the first time they do a guest shift, that's the first time they're in New York. It's amazing. It's amazing. I've seen people like going to Mexico for the first time. And so being able to support or provide those experiences for people that really deserve it is amazing.
And why do you ever thought like moving to another city in the States, or just do you fall in love with New York City?
I didn't fall in love with New York. I actually didn't like it the first few years.
So like you know,
and now, but it's like it's the longest toxic relationship I've been in. You know, it's
the two of us. Like I love it, but I hate it, but I don't love it.
Every now and then, I'm like, every now and then I'm like, why am I even here? It's so expensive to be here. And then, you know, I will walk into, I don't know, Super Bueno or Sipen Gazolo, whatever bar where I have a few friends, and like, oh, it's actually the greatest city on earth, and I wouldn't have it any other way. And so it's funny. It's not perfect. And yes, every now and then I definitely think of I've thought of leaving New York, but it's home. And you don't leave home.
And you know, we know that Bacardi is a global brand, but also is like more known for rum, which is like very Caribbean, very fun and happy parties and everything.
Are you
but
saying I'm not fun?
No, I'm just saying that obviously you're fun, but no, you know, sometimes people who are from Europe, they don't have the opportunity to know the Caribbean and everything, but also you are part of the Agave brand portfolio. So how is your, obviously working in bars, you have the opportunity to try many spirits, but how is working with this brand in particular?
You know, I grew up drinking very, very bad tequila, extremely bad tequila.
Many people, I believe so.
But like bad. And then not just because like, you know, I grew up drinking, like everyone here will tell you in college they were drinking whatever bad tequila, but
No, we did.
but you know the amount of tequilas and the brand of tequila you can find in Switzerland 20 years ago,
Oof.
it's bad. Like I wouldn't wish it on anyone. I wouldn't use it to clean my house. Like bad. But fun memories.
I believe so.
That being said,
And some we don't remember actually.
yeah, I mean, sometimes it's for the best as well. But I started getting closer to Bacardi as a company through cocktail competitions.
Okay.
And so I did a few cocktail competitions, and I did my first one was most imaginative bartender with Bombay Sapphire. And I competed here in New York, and I remember it was with some of people. It was people that I looked up to, right? And like I was like so amazed that I was even selected to be on stage with people like that, and that was absolutely amazing. And then I remember my face when I made the cut to go to London, and so I was like, oh, that's cool. First because I'm going back to London, but also I was like, wow, that's amazing, because out of a few bartenders,
You're being selected, yeah.
you're being selected, right? And so after that, the first one, people had to push me to sign up. I will say thank you to Colin Apia for that, because he really pushed me to sign up for the competition. And then after that, I was like all confident now, and so I did Bacardí Legacy, and same thing, I was in New York and same big names and whatever. And they're like, no, now you're going to the next step in Puerto Rico. And I was like, wait a minute. And so I did that for a few years, and I did cocktail competition for a few years, and it really opened to, I guess, what the ambassador job is. And when, and then I saw, and I was like, I was close to the people from Bacardi, and they opened a job with Bombay Sapphire, and the team reached out and like, oh, we think you should apply because you did MIB and like you're European, and so that's great, right? And you used to live in England, and I applied and I did a few rounds of interview. I didn't get the job, and luckily the person that got the job was much better than me, so very happy about that. And then they were like, you didn't get the job, but there is a job opening with Grey Goose. I was like, okay, well, I speak French, so that's and so I did a few rounds of interviews, and then I didn't get the job. And the person that got the job was also much better than me. And I mean, Maxime and I are still very close friends as well. So I was like, well, that makes sense. Why that person would be picked? And then they opened the job with Patron, and I didn't apply.
Okay.
They were like, I'm done with this. Like,
No, it was not that, but I was like, I know so many great Mexican bartender in New York that I'm like, why would I even apply? It makes no sense. Why do you want to have a Swiss person talk about tequila? And at first, when I first started with the company, that's something that I was carrying with me everywhere I would go. I was really struggling with the fact that I was not Mexican. And there is two things that slightly changed after a bit. The first thing is I realized that it was not just about being Mexican. It was also about really connecting the industry with the brand. And even so I'm not Mexican, I am part of the industry. That's why. And the second aspect is because it's such a special product, and because it's such a special culture and really dear culture to me. So one thing that I had to do was to try to do it right. And by that I mean, like, I didn't grow up in Mexico. My Spanish is very clunky, but getting better, but very clunky.
you said a couple words earlier, like, you got me.
But more than anything, is like it's about asking the right question, right? One of my favorite holiday across every single holiday you can celebrate is Dia de Muertos.
Oh,
right. And I love Dia de Muertos, and every year I get very excited about it. And again, for me, it was like asking my friends, like, does that make sense? how explain me that, and like, you know, and when we're talking about like food or drinks or like holidays, like it's really much more about wanting to do it right. And if you want to do it right, you will do the work to do it right.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so that made a massive difference. And not only I got more comfortable with that, but once people also realized that I actually knew what I was talking about and I was really passionate about what I was talking about, it made an entire difference right away.
Yeah, because
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say now they call me enchilada suiza. But
Yeah, enchiladas suizas. I love that. And we talk about this because in Mexico we have enchiladas suizas, and then we have entomatadas. It's the same thing, but the entomatada is just like a wrapped tortilla with like pulled chicken, the green tomatillo sauce,
to
and
be fair,
enchiladas.
a fair amount of dishes are like a tortilla, some chicken.
Yeah,
some
yeah,
like, you have a lot of different names for it because of the shape and the cooking method, but a lot is the same ingredients.
Yeah.
No, and I feel like, every culture, right?
Yeah.
Like if I'm Mexican and I want to try to speak about something, I don't know, like croissant, but they're going to say like, what do you know about French bread, right? But there's a difference between like honoring and learning or appropriating, right?
100%.
And I feel like when you have a person that has the knowledge and they really want to represent it, no as a, I know everything, but I represent this because I respect it. I feel like many people will, especially Mexicans, will respect you because it feels like you're also giving voice to.
It's a very welcoming community. It's a very, very welcoming community.
Yeah.
And definitely like to party too. But like, I think a great example for me is, Freddy from El Gallo.
Okay.
Where is he from? Sweden?
I think it's from Sweden.
Yeah. And yet he owns one of the coolest bars in Guadalajara, right? And then so
He's Mexican to us.
Yeah.
No, but
For
He
real,
acts-
whenever I'm not meant to cut you off, but
No.
whenever you have somebody who goes to Mexico, even if you go to Mexico to live for a little bit, you'll become Mexican. Remember Piba? She's from Argentina. She lives in Mexico. She's Mexican. Doesn't matter where you honestly, in our culture, and I'm gonna say this in our culture because I'm Mexican. I was born there, but I've been in New York for so many years. But the way I was taught when my mom was like, welcome this person. And I think that's why we have the hospitality within ourselves because they taught us how to like greet people, say hi, say goodbye. If you're shy, it's okay. You're going to go shake hands, this is what I was taught. And I didn't know they were preparing me to do this,
Yeah, I remember also when I was a kid, if my dad brought someone at 7 p.m. and we already have dinner, my mom will be like, okay, we don't have dinner, but I will make like some eggs, beans and some tortillas, and we have fun with that. And you were mentioning about this guy, and I feel like you are also seeing like that, like people like now recognize you more, like
appreciate that.
Like this, like sometimes we don't say like the Mexican, but it's like I really appreciate that. For example, in your Instagram, you have the Mexican flag.
Sure do.
And I feel like, as far as just, we really, obviously this is a business.
Yeah.
It's not like we're going to talk about love only,
No,
right?
of course.
But the fact that there are many tequila brands, so there is a lot of brands, but ones that are, every company has their own beliefs and everything. And I feel like Patron is well respected in many ways. So you being the part of that portfolio.
Yeah, but also, like we always say, meet the person behind the bottle.
Yeah.
Because you have a great product, you're always gonna have something that it's well done and taken care of. Because also the people who's harvesting it, who cooking it, who's like distilling, bottling, putting the ticker, the label, everybody there is very important.
Yeah.
But the person who's promoting that is you, in particular, right?
Yeah.
In a way, and of course they have to see the personality and connecting the community and connecting with with the consumers at the same time, because you can connect with the bartenders, but the bartenders is not the consumers.
Yeah, of course.
The consumers are the people who are at home watching a football game probably, and they don't even know anything about that. But when they go to a restaurant, they have this connection and to learn from the restaurant. I think your part here is educating the bartenders, so the bartenders know how to promote or sell or create a cocktail with the ingredient that you have, and create that connection.
But I guess you have also your brand ambassadors right now.
Yeah,
right?
and the other thing is, I'm lucky, like the team of brand ambassadors that we have is an amazing team of really amazing people, and like some of them have been working for 5+ years now, and some of them just last week actually, which made Cinco de Mayo very intense for them. But more than anything is now is translating that, right? It's like no matter what, the ambassador teams that we have, it's very, very hardworking people. It's definitely very knowledgeable and great personality, and so I know that they do what's right, and also, I think that there is what's right for a brand, what's right for a company, but also it's what's right where, right? And so maybe what people need in El Paso is different than what people need in Atlanta, by example, right?
Yeah.
And literally everywhere around the US, the teams that we have that I really think is fantastic is we have the right person in every single market. And they all want to do it right for the cultures. They all want to do it right for the brand. All of them are unapologetically, whatever I'm trying to say, themselves. And I think that's very exciting. That's very exciting. And then to see everyone's creativity, to see what someone in Chicago is doing versus someone in San Diego, it's absolutely amazing. And so for that, I also feel very thankful. And I was mentioning before, like we're hiring a few more ambassadors because the program is going very well, and so we're able to expand it. And it's amazing to be able to give opportunities to people. It was amazing when I used to run bar, and it's amazing now on the brand side. But I see now some of the people that were barbacks and now they're running bars, right? Or they're owning bars, right? Or like seeing, and we were talking about Andrea before, like within 5 years, she's now a sous chef in a 3 Michelin star restaurant. Yeah. She started cooking in her kitchen 5 years ago, right? And I like the amount of work and dedication that she's put together in such a short period of time.
Yeah.
But it's also an industry that if you put the work, right,
you'll move up.
You will move up and people will respect you for it. Yeah. And I really think it makes a difference.
Yeah, and I think that's the ultimate goal in this podcast and with our listeners, with our viewers, is showcase that, right? Like showcase the talent and also tell that this is our career and take ownership of it, like educate yourself, grab a book, tag along with somebody else who you want to learn from. If it's cooking, if it's cocktailing, like if you don't know a recipe of a cocktail, if you want to learn how to batch, tag along with somebody else like that so you get that knowledge or that information. Because if you don't ask, you don't have an answer.
Oh, horrible.
If you are in the comfort zone where you don't want to approach somebody, you have to talk to people. This is a business of people again.
Yeah.
And if you don't say it, then you're just gonna be there for a while.
But and also the other part that we are doing this podcast is because bringing you or bringing other guests, showing your story and feel represented in many ways. But also we're looking for create again that community of if someone approaches you to have a question, you can answer as well.
Of course.
So you can be also open to help other people. Yeah. Because, nowadays we have Instagram, we have Google, and you can find things, but it's better, probably in the past, I would be a little, intimidating to, ask you something, but I feel like Edgar says, if I don't ask you, you probably wouldn't be here, but also it was very nice for you that saying, yeah, definitely I want to be there. And I feel like creating this community in New York City that we've been here for a long time is not just for the picture or not just for the brands or not just for the 50 best, but in general, because creating community also gives you the opportunity to create a mindset of taking care of each other, right?
And we say New York City because this is a big city. And the multicultural part of the city is what we really love. You come from Switzerland, us being from Mexico, and then all of our people who work with us, from different parts of the world, basically. Yeah. And this is New York. New York is not one single people or one background. It's everyone. And I think that's why, honestly, I really love this. Going back to the toxic relationship. It's we don't like it, but then we don't love it, but we are here. And
I don't want it without it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's I don't love it, and I don't love it every day. but I wouldn't do it any other way.
Yeah, exactly.
And that is very special. And I think that, to your point, there is two things. I think for me is it seems that everyone, no matter what, has some imposter syndrome, and that holds back people a lot. And I think that the more you can ask, the more you ask people about their past and the path that they took, the more you realize that everyone is just figuring it out.
Yeah.
And then that might make you feel more comfortable about not having it all figured out now. And really, everyone's path is different. And I think that one of the beauty of this industry and this community and the communities that you're creating as well is that everyone has a story to share, right? And some people might relate to some of the stories, some people might relate to others, and also maybe just some part of it, right? But if you ever feel stuck somewhere, most likely someone else at some point was stuck in the same place. So if you can ask the question and find the support in the community to continue to grow, that's the best.
And to that point, for example, you said that you were a little unsure to take in the job because you thought that it would be like Mexican bartenders or people who can know. So once you got it, what makes you stay?
I'm really good at it.
Good answer.
Listen, I can drink tequila much more than many people I know.
I mean, you started training with the first tequila.
And I will say that I think, and it's very funny, it's like, I think if it was not for the pandemic, I wouldn't be working in the agave business. And I'm not saying because anything else that, well, we had a lot of spare time, and I used to spend a lot of time with Alan.
I love Alan.
I used to spend a lot of time with Alan. I used to spend a lot of time with La Loba and Denise when she was still with G4. And they definitely made me drink more tequilas than I could. So really help build the tolerance.
Just for that.
Just for that. That's just for educational purposes. But definitely, I enjoy the spirit very much. So I think there is something magical about all things agaves, and I'm not just talking about tequila itself, right? We've been talking tequila because maybe we had some, maybe we didn't, but because I also love mezcal a lot, right? I'm in love with Oaxaca. I love going down to Oaxaca. But if you're talking about Racia, Soto, Bacanora, you name it, right? It's like there is such a world. And also, it's so different from one to the other, both the spirits, the history behind the spirit, the culture behind the spirit, right? And I'm lucky because I get to go to Mexico fairly often. I go to Mexico much more than Switzerland. And, I get, every time I go, I meet new people. I learn new things. I try new food and new drinks, and it feels good and it feels right, and that's why I continue to do it, and I will continue to do it. It's because it feels right.
Nice. And before you started with the company, did you go to Mexico before that?
It's a good question.
Because I was gonna ask you, what was your first impression when you went there into the first distillery?
So the first time I went to Mexico, I was not officially hired by Patron yet, but I already had a job offer. But I actually went for the opening of Mezcal Palenque. The first time I went to Mexico was actually Oaxaca. And I really love Oaxaca. That's the first time I got to try pulque, and I was like, oh my God, what's that delicious beverage that I've never had before? And I love pulque.
It's lactate.
But for me, it's just great memories. I love it. There is no doubt that it's also not for everyone. No doubt about that. But for me, it's just something that I enjoy. It's great memories. It's also so much history, right? Because people have been drinking pulque for ever.
Yeah,
And so I really loved it. It was a lot of fun. I was with my friend actually on that trip. Alan was there, and a few other friends, actually quite a few friends from New York were on that trip as well. And like, we had the best time. We definitely drank a mezcal or two. But I was
Bottles or shots? Yeah,
I don't remember.
TBD. We'll let you know. We'll let you know.
Yes. But no, and like, I was like, it's beautiful. Everything is delicious. Everyone is nice. Like, I want to go back. And, you know, for me, now, every time I want to go to more places in Mexico, because I understand that also not every states are the same. And the culture, even like way back, is different, right?
Yeah.
I was in Oaxaca a month ago, maybe. And we went to Monte Alban, to the pyramid.
Oh.
And I was like, it's such a crazy history, right? And if you go to Guadalajara, it's different, right? If you go to Chihuahua, I was in Chihuahua. Actually, I've been to Mexico a lot this month, but...
Lucky you.
I love that. You know,
but because I was also in Chihuahua last month, and like I was like, it's completely different. It's like, and I think that's the part that's beautiful, is like all of them completely different, but at the same time, always great food, great drinks, great people, and usually great weather. I have yet to be in Mexico and be like an entire week and be like, oh no, it's terrible.
Yeah, it's very different. Mexico City is very different also. It's super hot during the day and it's really cold at night.
Yeah.
Oaxaca could be the same in different parts, because if you're closer to the water, it's not as much as when you're in the mountains. I feel like the mountains sometimes tend to be more desertic, especially where you get like your mezcals from.
Yeah.
But yeah, Chihuahua per se too, you know, like that's a desert. Like there's nothing in there, but you drive and there's no trees basically. I mean, it is different, right?
It's like going like different countries.
It's
like
actually
small countries,
like going
yeah.
in a different country, and like, but like, I love going back. I get very excited like a kid before Christmas every time I know I'm going back. Like, I'm going on Sunday. I'm very excited, and so having that opportunity is not something I take for granted, because I also understand and know that not everyone can. And so I try to make the best out of it. I always try to make sure that I respect all the people that I meet and all the things that I eat and drink, and you know, I really admire it in many ways, and I think that, you know, the fact that I didn't necessarily grew up with it in that sense doesn't mean that I can be any less passionate than anyone else.
No, and for example, this experience, have you transmitted to your family? Like,
you know, so yes, but I mean, I hope custom is not watching, but I definitely have been servicing Switzerland. Now I've been trying to educate my friends and family to the agave world, because again, that's something down there that's very, very foreign, right? But so my stepbrother just got a baby, and beautiful baby, and his wife is from Spain and Argentina, and so they decided to name the baby Amaru. And now, I don't know if you know Amaru, but that's a god. That's a god that looks a lot like Quetzalcoatl.
okay.
Yeah, Mari's from I think from Peru.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And similar story, similar look, not exactly the same. But so when I was in Oaxaca, the last month, I went to the market and I was really looking for an alebrije that looked alike, and so I got an alebrije of Quetzalcoatl to bring them back in June. And so, you know, at this point, it's like Mexico is part of my life, and when I go home, I want to share my life with the people that I don't see all the time as well, right? And so I think it's beautiful to share, and in a very funny way. Like when I'm at home, I'm like, I'm from New York and I go to Mexico and like all those cool things. And when I'm in New York or when I'm in Mexico, I'm from Switzerland, you should see Switzerland. And now with the World Cup coming, we've had very strong debate because the chances that they actually play each other is fairly high. But I don't have to pick. I have both jerseys, so I don't have to pick.
You just cut it and put it together.
You can do like a half jersey.
I have both jerseys. I can flip in and out.
And it's my personal, my opinion is that as a Mexican, and I see like working in this industry, and I've seen like so many, people making profit of like our culture and everything, which is part of the business. Like I said, I just want people also to know that respecting a culture and also admiring it and also learning from it, I feel like it gives you that. Like, for example, now you know what is an alebrije, what means for like people going to Monte Alban and what was the pyramids and all that culture, that you feel part of it and you feel like that's brought to you because this brand. And also you can tell other people like, it's not just the matter of drinking alcohol or drinking tequila. It's part of their culture. It's part of their history. And it's something that, many families relies on that, right? It's a way of living. And for other people, it's like the way of like having fun and everything. So it's connected, but at the same time, it's like respecting cultures, right?
Like, I was educated with the chancla. Even so, we didn't have a word for it. But again,
dunking pants and dunking chanclas inside.
But no, I think there is that aspect of, and I say that a lot about agave spirits and tequila and mezcal, but there is something very communal about it. It's a lot of spirits and wine as well, and like some people I think try to make it like maybe too complicated to make themselves feel better, or maybe elitist, or like like, oh no, you need to be like a very, very special to understand wine, or like, oh no, that whiskey is only for professional or whatever. And like, or one thing that I love about agave spirit is that it's very approachable, and there is a lot of different ways to do it, but it's like first and foremost is to bring people together. And I feel like that goes back to being part of the culture in Mexico. It's they love to bring people together. And that's something that I like to do when I go back home, by example, or like when I invite people over, is like let's share something together. And there is a beauty behind it, and that's something that I really love.
Yeah, because I remember my childhood. My dad didn't really drink much tequila. It was more like the pulque sometimes, or aguamiel, how they call it. Sometimes. And they'll have like Bacardi. That's the first thing I remember drinking. I mean, not me drink, but my dad drinking. It was Bacardi and soda, basically. And they used to call them the Cubas. They never called them Cuba Libre, like the whole name. They just called them Cubas. But it was never really called a cocktail. A cocktail was called a Cuba. And that it didn't matter what it was. It was a Cuba.
A Cuba.
When I was a kid. And then, of course, then I learned, about tequila through a friend when I think this is we're 14 years old at one point, and he was from Jalisco. He went to Jalisco to visit his grandparents, came back, and he brought like one of those bull horns and with a little cork on the top, and he brought it to school, like tasting us on it. Sorry, I'm saying this, we're tasting. But this is how I was introduced to that, tasting it. But we never really got into it until like we saw family, quinceañeras or 16s. When I saw a bottle on the table for the godfather or for the family, and I was like, whoa, a bottle! You don't even get like a third of the shot. No, you get the whole bottle, and then you pour it. But you pour because you basically are supposed to share with everybody on the table. You don't drink that by yourself. This is not just for you. And then this connects the people there, and then it's a community, the family, the party, the event. Everyone has a good time, and
it's funny. It's like I've done that a lot back home, and back in Switzerland, they don't necessarily drink hard spirit as much. They usually drink a lot of wine and beer, right? But they're improving a lot. But like often, like when I will go and see my friends, right? I'm not there often, so usually when I'm there, we do some nice dinners or big parties. We invite a few friends and whatnot. But like once we're done with dinner and we had a bit of wine and whatever, like that's when we open the bar and like we usually pour the bottle on the table and we're just talking about life and like I think that's the best moments. That's the best memories for me. It's very simple, but like that's the best when you're just with like people that you like, drinking things that you like, and just talking about life.
Yeah. And sometimes you don't even have to talk about the whatever it's on the table. Like somebody wants, they can pour themselves and you just drink it, right?
And it's funny. It's like I have a great bar at home. I have a lot of spirits at home and an amazing one. I'm very fortunate in that sense. I never touch it. Like I really only open the bar when I have people at home.
Exactly.
And it's just because it makes me happy to share.
Exactly.
And usually, when I'm from the town that created absinthe. And when I grew up, absinthe was still illegal in Switzerland.
Oh, really?
But
It was illegal for
Yeah.
it was illegal until 2005, but like I will usually go back to Switzerland, bring some bottle of tequila, and come back to America with some bottle of absinthe.
Right.
And because also when I'm here, I can also share that. I share a bit of my home with people.
Yeah,
right? And
yeah,
so
that's
so it's an exchange. It's an exchange, and I think it's an amazing opportunity.
And I mean, I guess that you mentioned that you go often to Mexico, and I don't want to put in like the cliche of like, what is your favorite dish? But like, there is a moment that you feel really, really connected to Mexico, or like
Yes.
food ways. Yep.
And again, it's because I'm very fortunate also when I go, right? But I feel very thankful because I've been going to Guadalajara regularly now for quite a few years, and so I have some very dear friend of mine down there, and so I'm very excited when I get to be with them and to see them. That can be my friend Haba or like Oscar, or when I show up at El Gallo, it's always the nicest welcome as well, and that's something that they do very, very well. Is always making you feel like the most important person, right? But like I always try to bring a little gift to my friends. I didn't realize how much the people I know in Guadalajara love Harry Potter. And so I used to live right next door to the Harry Potter store. So now every time I go, I try to bring them either like the chocolate frog or like the surprise beans or whatever you call them in English. And that's when I feel the happiest, is because like I'm going back to see my friends. And then there is one moment, like, we've done a few trips, and the distillery in at Atonilco El Alto, it's a very special place. It's a very luxurious place, and I feel very thankful to be able to share that with everyone. I also understand that that's not always the case, but we have a mariachi band, Mariachi Moya, and they are some of the most amazing mariachi I ever seen. Because also when it comes to mariachi, you have great mariachis and you have not so great mariachis.
Yeah.
You really can have both.
You have your Timu mariachi?
Yeah. No, like you really can have both. And there's the most amazing one. And like, when I'm there in a place that's so amazing with usually people that I love, and drinking some amazing tequila and listening to the mariachi, it's like just makes me very happy.
Yeah, chilling, like listening to the music.
It makes me very happy. And again, like and that place is such a special place, and having the opportunity to be there with people that you care about is amazing. Because also it's definitely not an opportunity I would be able to have so regularly in another life or in another setting. So
Yeah.
So I think there is a lot to be thankful for.
Yes.
So, well, it was very, very heartful conversation having this with you, because obviously, as a Mexicans, we feel like, connected in many ways. Like you said, there's people that they don't have the opportunity to go, and seeing like the change that Mexico has been, like not just Mexico City, but across the country, cocktail bars are being growing up and everything. And I believe that bringing that to the States, in New York, in this case, like now you can be familiar not only with Oaxaca, but Puebla, Guerrero, Chihuahua, and, also having a person that is not from here and also not from Mexico and going to your country and sharing that is like showing off that, immigrants, they bring many, many, many good things. And I believe that you experience it firsthand coming here as an immigrant, also going to Mexico and also coming back here and showing the love that you show to Mexico.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
No, see, and I would say that I think I spent my entire life with immigrants until I became an immigrant myself. And I think that there is a lot of beautiful things that comes to immigration, and I think that it's not something that's talked about enough, and I feel very lucky to have been able to experience that. But like when you travel and you actually move in a country when you move in a country and when you go on vacation, very different things. But when you move in different countries, you learn so much. And when you meet people that have done it, you learn so much through their experience as well. And so for that, I really think that immigration is beautiful. Immigration is not stopping anytime soon. People will continue to move. Because
there has been immigration since the Neanderthal times.
Yeah.
They moved from Africa to the north.
Yeah.
And then we have people coming from Asia to the Americas. Like if we really look fast track everything. So, there are, I don't know if this is fact, actually, but in Tutankhamun, his tomb, they found cacao beans and coke leaves.
Yeah.
That was from Peru. And now when you said the baby is named
Amaru. Yeah.
Amaru Tupac.
Yeah.
Tupac, the rapper, was also named after Amaru Tupac. So, like, we really think
we're
all
all
this.
humans. And I think, like, we should also, like you said, there is not enough talking about this, or it's enough, but the people, they don't want to understand it. But we're all human. We're, like, the same.
The people that don't understand immigration haven't gone through it. And that's the only reality of it. Is like there is so much beauty and learnings to take from all the cultures, and I think when it comes to it, the more you try to learn about other cultures, the more you grow as a person.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I feel like, there are places that are fortunate, like, for example, your country, that they have a lot of, like, benefits. And going to places that you probably see, like, people that are very, very poor, but they don't need money because they're already happy with, whatever, their family, their land, the way they cook, like, seeing a family just eating frijoles and they're happy. Obviously, they don't know if they need something else, but I feel like the main reason, like, for example, tequila, having this sharing with your friends, it gives you that happiness.
Yeah.
And we don't talk about money. We don't talk about,
100%. And I think that's the most beautiful times is, just talking about life.
Yeah, having a good time, enjoying.
Being with the people that you connect with. That's the best time.
Yeah.
And you know what? When I go back home and we're sitting around that table and we're drinking and we get a bit tipsy and sometimes we have some spirited conversation because we don't all agree, I realize that my point of view has changed. And I realize that maybe no matter what, we don't agree on everything, but like I realize that my point of view has changed because I've experienced things differently and I've met people that experience things differently, right? And so I'm not as quick to necessarily make a decision or judge because I understand that there might be more backstory. And so I think that's also part of the beauty of it is nothing is black or white, and everything is a lot of gray. And so for that, I think it's very interesting because like when I go back, my friends have been traveling and we all grew and we all evolved, but I realize that sometimes some of the topics that we're talking about, they most likely would have a different point of view. if they left. And you know, at the end of the day, I'm very, very thankful for my friend, and I'm also very thankful to be able to have those perspective, to be able to see, oh, that's what happened if you stay where you're from. That's what happened if you move. That's what happens if you experience hardship or luxury. And so I think there is a lot. I think immigration overall and being open to what people went through and experience, and it can be hard or not. It doesn't have to be hard, right? It just has to be different.
Yeah.
And I think that when you learn of different ways to grow, by example, or to cook or to drink, you learn a lot. And then what you do with that information is your own. But being open to the information and the knowledge is a source of growth.
And talking about knowledge, so once you went from brand ambassador and now you're the advocacy
Advocacy manager
from Bacardi, what is basically this role like?
I try, and it's an excellent question, and realistically is I try real hard, and I'm still learning a lot and whatnot, but I try to make sure that the team has the tools to do that, right? They have the tools to go and take care of the teams. They have the programs to go and take care of the teams, and also it's not like we're an entire team that connect all the time together, and like I couldn't do it without the teams that we have and the support that we have. And same again, like we have a lot of different people with a lot of different backgrounds and knowledge and ideas, and so being able to tie them all together to try to give some of the best program that the team can use and also like deliver in their own markets with their own I guess community, right? And so I think that's what most of my days is making sure that they have the tools that represent the best the brand, and that can be the most impactful to the community in the market.
And for people that doesn't know, for example, we know that in the States it's easier to get like, Patron. I guess how's the market like going in Europe or Africa? It's everywhere, or just in the Americas?
If we're talking about agave, it's specifically the US is extremely lucky. There is a couple of things. First, there is a greater history of people drinking tequila in the US. There is the fact that Mexico is so close to the US that people have been going back and forth drinking in Mexico and or in the US forever. There is such a strong Mexican community in the US that the culture behind agave spirits is much greater. And the US is by far the greatest drinker of agave spirits, by a lot.
Yes.
Much more than Mexico, actually, in a wild way. And so when it comes to that, we are extremely lucky because we have a lot of choice, a lot of selection in the US. If you go to Europe, in order to have your agave brand in the Europe, you must be already fairly big. And so I think that, you have all the ones that have been around forever, like Sauza or like Jose Cuervo, because at the end of the day, they've been doing it for hundreds of years. And you have some of the bigger ones, like Don Julio, like Espolon, like Patron as well. And so I think that the selection that you have in Europe or in Africa or in Asia is much smaller. I think that it's a question of time until it catches up. And when it comes to spirits overall, everything is also slightly cyclical. So we're lucky, I think, to live in a time where agave is extremely hot. And even so people might not be drinking as much and whatnot, it's still a very, very fun spirit to be around. But in a fair amount of Europe, gin is still very, very strong. Gin is very strong in England. Gin is very strong in Spain. in France and in Switzerland as well, actually. My friends that are into spirits, they have a soft spot for rum. And what's funny about it is I really love the small production rums, right? So ones that are a bit harder to find and whatnot.
Like Agave Gold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in that sense, it's amazing because now, and that's, I don't think, if you take Switzerland specifically, now we're talking about a very small country. Like there is more people in New York than there is in Switzerland. So, but last time I went, I started having a lot of questions and requests about mezcal, right? And they never, as a country, really caught on tequila just yet. But they love the idea of mezcal and the diversity you find in mezcal and the different like aromas and flavor and the fact that you have a lot more small producer from what they can get there. And so I thought that was very interesting that they seem to be jumping to mezcal directly. And I'm not mad at it.
No, and that's good because they're like, I mean, now I guess now with social media interaction, they might see it. And sometimes when you see something you want to try, you want to taste it. You want to explore, you know, and that actually, in a way, social media helps you like broaden your perspectives because you want to do all the things and taste other things. But yeah, that'll be great.
No. Listen, as long and that is thing, I think for me, there is something magical about producing alcohol, and I always love like distillers. You know how people do like a panini for soccer player, like they collect the
collection
stickers
cards
for different
and they
players.
have to put it in an album.
For me, like master distillers, they were always like that for me. And so, like for me, being able to be close to some master distiller and call some of them my friend is something that I love. And there is something magical around the creation of alcohol. Something that I just love. That you take a fruit or a plant, and after some point you have that liquid that's like everyone drinks around the world. I think it's phenomenal and still something magical. And I understand the biology behind it, and I understand the chemical aspect behind it, but it's still something magical when I go to any distillery. And then there is something very fun about sharing it with people and enjoying it with people. And so as long as people do both, whatever spirit it is, whatever beer or wine it is, it makes me very happy.
Yeah.
Now, if you can also pay rent, I'm not mad at it.
That's the ultimate goal.
But realistically, it's like that. I mean, I love agave, and I can talk about agave for hours. But I think that as long as people are curious about what they're eating and what they're drinking, restaurant will continue to strive, and spirit company will continue to strive, and along the line, quite frankly, it will also help everyone that works with those companies, for sure.
Yeah.
And talking about education, so if like for people who are like watching this, like new bartenders or like new restaurants, if they want to approach to Patron to have classes, they can, right?
So yes, we have a lot of different ways to do education. Obviously, in a lot of the major cities and the major market, we have brand ambassadors that are amazing for education. If they are not in any of those markets, or if they are in those markets and they prefer to do it online because it's more convenient for their schedule or things like that, we have a few different certifications that we give. The biggest one and the one that makes me the happiest right now is we actually have a certification with the WSET, the Wine and Spirit Education Trust, which is, I guess as legit as can be when it comes to it. And they created a special agave education with us that gives you an actual certificate that we're providing right now as well. You just need to sign up and go through the classes, and at the end you have a test, and if you pass the test, you get the certificate.
I recommend that if you guys are watching.
I'm gonna sign up.
Yeah, no. Highly recommend it. It's by far one of the best online education tools that I've seen out there. And at the end of the day, you can always reach out, and if you want to know more, either I can help you get to learn a bit, or we'll find someone that can help you learn a bit.
If you guys want to reach out, go to his socials. Will you be my guest? I think that's where you can find him.
I don't know. Can they?
Can they?
Sure can.
Yeah, you go. See? Do you have anything else to say, Emily?
No, I mean, obviously, we're very happy to have you. It was very, like I said, very interesting, very helpful, and we really thank you for having, your time sharing with us and also sharing your story with the audience. And I don't know, you want to shout out to someone?
Thank you to you guys for putting that together and offering me that opportunity. And at the end of the day, very thankful for you guys. Anyone watching, if you want to reach out, if you bump into me in the streets, like say hi. And if you want to reach out or if you want more information, I'm happy to share with anyone.
Yep.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. If you guys want more episodes like this, very, very awesome episodes, by the way, go to our website, www.bartalkingbarnyc.com, or go to all social media, Instagram or TikTok.
Or also, just don't forget to subscribe to YouTube. We also have all the episodes there. And remember, comment, because that's how we play with the algorithm and we can grow. And definitely we thank you for having us in your AirPods or your TV and, listen to every episode. But that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, guys. Don't forget to tip your bartender. And we're going to live with saying bar talking bar on 3. Ready?
1, 2, 3.
Bar talking bar.
All right. See you next time.
See you next time, guys.
Thank you so
Later.
much.